Welcome everyone to another episode of the SBA show. Today we are joined by Geoffrey Swinbourne and Darren Minto from Crafted Hardwoods. For those joining us for the first time, my name is Hamish White and I'm one of the founding members of Sustainable Builders Alliance and directors of Sanctum Homes, and I'll be your host for this evening. In the spirit of reconciliation, we'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and the connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, and extend our respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island peoples today. Hey, Darren and Geoff, I'm just going to jump in here and say, my 3-year-old's yelling in the background. Can you actually hear that coming through?
No.
Apple AirPods are amazing because he is yelling right there in the background. Anyway, you know what? This is modern parenting right now, so we're just going to roll with it. As I mentioned today, we're joined by the guys from Crafted Hardwoods. But what is Crafted Hardwoods? Crafted Hardwoods is an Australian manufacturer using 3RT's advanced technology to supply their world-first hardwood innovation to the commercial and residential construction market. Through science and engineering, they are converting low-value FSC and PEFC certified pulp-grade resources into premium hardwoods with the look, feel, and have properties of 100-year-old trees. 27 years in the commercial furniture sector has given Geoff the foundations to successfully build and nurture Crafted Hardwoods in the Australian market. Having spent the first 13 years working from the ground up in a national commodity furniture division, his focus was on sales and business development, contributing to the growth of $150 million worth of national business. The following 13 years, Geoff was working as the ACT branch manager with Zenith Series, an Asian Pacific leader, with success in building on strong relationships and partnerships with architects, interior designers, builders, and other professional organisations. Sorry, my son is still yelling at me in the background, so I'm just going to embrace this moment. With new waves of innovation and opportunity arriving daily, Geoff collaborated with his clients and partners to deliver high-performance furniture and workspace solutions. In December 2022, Geoff completed with the Cambridge University Business Sustainability Management certification, giving him a sound knowledge in this area and the confidence to create this new venture to contribute to making a positive impact in our region. We're also joined by Darren Minto, and he's lived and breathed timber since the age of 20. Beginning in an entry-level role at marketing, leading timber merchant Bowens, he quickly moved up the ranks to the Victorian-based business. Holding multiple roles in sales and management position, he most recently has been involved in experimental roles in business development, specialising in high-end architectural products at Circa. In 2023, his values and reputation led him to being offered a position on the regional executive committee with HIA, where he has further developed his passion for the construction industry. After 14 years with Bowens, Darren's passion for continuous improvement, relationships and sustainability has led him to a new challenge with Crafted Hardwoods. His wealth of knowledge and attention to detail will no doubt be an asset to the business and clients alike. Now, I personally have known Darren for many, many years through Bowens, and I can attest that he is a wealth of knowledge and a really great guy to work with. Today's webinar is brought to you by one of our platinum sponsors, Live Life Build. Live Life Build are builders coaches on a mission to elevate the professionalism of the residential building industry. Check out everything you have to offer at livelifebuild.com. Now, today's webinar will be part presentation and part Q&A. So I've already got a ton of questions from people joining us today. And if you would like any of your questions answered, pop them in the chat box because there's going to be plenty of time to ask them as we go. Now, I'm going to throw over to you guys now, so hopefully I can get rid of this distraction that's in my background right now and hopefully plug him in front of Netflix. So I'm going to throw it over to you guys now.
Thanks, Habe. Appreciate it. Very kind words, and thanks to you and the SBA team for having us on. Thank you for those watching us today, taking the time out of your busy schedules to learn about our exciting material. And thanks to the future viewers of the webinar. We are Crafted Hardwoods, and we'd like to start by having Geoff introduce you to why we do what we do, and he'll jump into our presentation following that. then we'll get stuck into some Q&A like Hamish mentioned. So, Geoffrey, why do we do what we do?
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks, Darren. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. You give me a thumbs up, Darren. Good to go. Excellent. So our business was born in March 2023. So we're still very much in our infancy. However, our team has a collective experience of 60 plus years. So we've got some good foundations there. The research and development, though, has been going for nearly 9 years now and is backed by some global industry leaders. Make sure my clicker works. There we go. Crafted Hardwoods was founded with the intent to utilise 3RT's technology, innovation in sustainable timber production, to not only provide the industry with an environmentally conscious building material, but to use that innovation as a vehicle to contribute to our community's health and well-being and support those that need a helping hand. Timber. For centuries, timber has been used in construction. The Horyuji Temple in Japan, for example, was completed in the year 607, and more than 1,400 years later is still standing. A real testament to the benefits and longevity of timber as a building material. This is all well and good, however, there just isn't enough hardwood available. Hardwood trees have a very slow natural growing process of plus or minus 75 years. This is what gives them their durability. We are seeing increasing government legislation to protect native forests. Traditional sawmilling technology, through no fault of their own, has a log to sawn hardwood yield of 33%. Driven by economic and population growth, the World Bank forecasts that global timber demand will quadruple by 2050. Using that traditional approach, there is no way this growing demand can be met in the future. On average, 1.7 billion cubic metres of trees are logged globally every year. Only 7% of that is turned into sawn hardwood materials and products. 17% is processed into sawn softwood materials and products. 33% is processed into high quality veneer products. Most alarming though, is almost 44% of our global timber resources are classed as low value and processed as pulp logs into wood chips. In Australia though, the average over the last 10 years is a whopping 49%. So half of our logged forest resources. So we have a solution. We bring you an Australian world first innovation. It is truly renewable and sustainable. It's utilising advanced technology and it's right here in our own backyard. We convert low value timber into premium hardwood. Through science and engineering, 3RT's technology has pioneered the process of turning wood residue into beautiful, safe, durable and sustainable products. From regrowth forest and plantations for both soft and hardwood, using unique patented technology to create superior timber products in one day. We bring you the new frontier in sustainable timber production and supply. Our resources, remember the 49%? Our resources are abundantly available. They are all either FSC and PEFC certified resources. It is a significant example of resource upcycling. Now, to try and understand those numbers closer to home, in 2022, Australia exported 4.6 million tonnes of hardwood chips. Through our process, that is the equivalent of 4.5 million cubic metres of timber that we could produce. Traditional methods for milling timber from log to sawn hardwood has a yield of 33%. With pressure on the reduction of our resources, we need to find more efficient ways to process our resources. Our method takes these juvenile logs and rotary peels them, which gives us a yield of approximately 75%, a far greater result and far less wastage. It's fair to say that most people today are aware that trees sequester and store carbon. What a lot of people don't realise is that younger trees sequester carbon at a much higher rate than older trees, whilst older trees store more carbon for longer. Because we use juvenile resources, we have the potential to cycle a plantation 5 times within the same time it would take a traditionally grown forest to grow for 100 years for harvesting. To keep plantations in a constant state of high sequestration rates whilst leaving old growth native forests alone to store the carbon long term, that seems like a win-win to us. So the technology, created by 3RT Technology in partnership with Flinders University's Institute for Nanoscale Science and Technology, along with Henkel, a global leader in adhesives, is the heart of this technology. All plants create lignin. Lignin is a class of complex organic polymers that form key structural materials in the support tissues of most plants. Their patented process uses a water-based formaldehyde-free nanoglue that biomimics lignin and improves the structure of juvenile trees in just minutes. Also created by 3RT in partnership with Bosch, another global leader in the advanced engineering space, is the operational components of this technology. A plug-and-play, scalable digital production unit. To achieve nature's precision, this process is managed by robots and the power of artificial intelligence. So, our product, it's our privilege to present to the Australian market a world-first Australian innovation. We are upcycling juvenile, low-value resources into beautiful timber with the look, feel and properties of 100-year-old trees. We are creating a significant value add with the resulting square trees weighing approximately 300 kilos and offer a dimensionally and consistent and stable timber. With our finished billets being square and consistent size at 2.5 metres long, 500 millimetres high, 250 millimetres wide, it is easy for us to cut them to many different sizes and shapes. Not only that, our billets to sawn material has minimal wastage, as you can see here. We produce far less waste from our low-value in-feed stock. With standard machining such as finger joining and laminating options are almost endless. Where do we see ourselves in the market? Well, we provide an additional supply of appearance-grade hardwood, which is a scarce resource, for both indoor and outdoor applications, giving our clients more option to choose from. Therefore, crafted hardwoods can occupy a unique place in the premium decorative segments at a cost that are cost competitive. Furthermore, because of its structural rated properties, which can exceed many other engineered wood products, crafted hardwoods can also provide a premium product range in appearance grade structural segments for the building industry. Our wood is duplicated so faithfully that it is suitable for an endless range of applications, whether it be battens, cladding, doors and flooring, or furniture, panelling, posts and stairs. Testing for further applications such as decking and structural applications are ongoing. It's important for us to ensure our materials will perform. We offer a range of both domestic and international species. Australian species tend to have rich, powerful look. Imported species tend to have a cleaner look for those that prefer it. Our process is still a positive solution for imported species because we're still upcycling those low-value resources. As part of our growth over time, more species and choice will become available. The unique fold pattern and square dimensions means you can choose a cut that suits your application. Our quarter sawn is available with a face up to 500 millimetres wide with no joins and a thickness up to 250 millimetres. Our back sawn is the opposite, a face of up to 250 millimetres wide and a thickness of 500 millimetres. We also have the ability to mix species to create a bespoke look. Now, I do just want to comment on the fact that we're using the words quarter sawn and back sawn from a product that's traditionally round. There is no terminology for a rectangular block. So if anyone's got a better idea of how to explain a cut, on a square block, we're all ears. Just some examples that you can see where these timbers have been used in applications to date. So Verse acoustic booths, platformer lounges and tables from Zenith Interiors, bench seats and tables from So What in Sydney. On-site joinery at Canberra's Civil Aviation Safety Authority was the first project that we did, what we're very excited about. Turned pieces, tabletops, decorative dowels, doors and frames, flooring options in both quarter sawn and back sawn looks in various thicknesses. Stair components, one of the fastest products to be produced, a single slice off a block. Imagine a stair tread up to 2.5 metres long, say 285 millimetres deep, and up to 250 millimetres thick without a single join. Outdoor applications. So decking is good to go. We still have 16 cubic metres available in Jarrah while stocks last. Other species still going through weather and coating testing should be available in the near future. Cladding and lining options. Now, one thing that's really important for us is we know that there is a lot of uncertainty in the cost of materials these days. It's disheartening to see businesses shutting down because of having to absorb cost increases. Crafted Hardwoods is here to support our Australian communities to provide security and peace of mind that quoting a job today will not hurt them in 6 to 12 months when it comes time to procure materials. As a minimum, we're offering standard fixed pricing for 12 months on quoted projects, and with prior agreement, in some cases up to 18 months fixed pricing on quoted projects. There will no longer be a need for contingencies that are driving up the costs of construction. We help our customers respond to the increasing demand for sustainable wood products of exceptional quality, competitively priced and with a guaranteed supply. We differentiate ourselves with a value proposition based on 2 pillars. Sustainability, assisting in the protection of native forests, no risk of illegal logging, locally produced, non-toxic, recyclable products to support the circular economy. Structural ratings with the ability to replace aluminium and steel. And our economic value add, offering appearance grade hardwood at market competitive pricing, solving critical global wood supply issues with security of supply. Continuous innovation through our partnership with 3RT Technology, and contribution to a carbon neutral environment and achieve ESG reporting standards. Now, sustainability for us is not just a marketing tool. Our business is being built on the backbone of doing the right thing and wanting to make a difference. Since 2014, One Tree Planted has planted over 135 million trees with 378 partners across 82 countries. Through this organisation, we put back an estimated 66% more resources than we take out of our environment here in Australia, rehabilitating our natural biodiversity. Roundabout Canberra is an amazing charity that believes every child deserves a safe start and every family deserves dignity. They provide safe, high-quality, essential baby and children items to families in need. You know, approximately 1 in 20 children in Australia experience the death of a parent during childhood. Lionheart Camp for Kids in Western Australia is a not-for-profit and the state's only service provider supporting grieving children and families following the death of a parent, primary caregiver, or sibling, regardless of how their family members died. We hope to be able to fund a full-time employee for each of these amazing organisations. And as we grow, we look for more opportunities throughout our Australian communities to help make a difference. So in summary, Crafted Hardwoods are filling the demand for low carbon, toxin-free building materials, helping to secure the reliability of supply chains, reducing native forest depletion, and doing our part for global sustainability. So on that note, thank you. That's us in a nutshell. And I'm going to hand back to the guys now, and over to you.
Awesome, Jeff. And I can confirm that I now have Bananas in Pajamas playing on the iPad, and I have a quiet child behind me. So for those who came in a little bit late, I had a yelling 3-year-old behind me during the intro, which was a little bit distracting, but I'm glad it didn't come through. Hey, I'm just going to be the devil's advocate here and say, why would I choose this over natural timber?
I don't think you necessarily have to. I think every situation's got its own benefits and fit for purpose scenarios. So I think what we're doing is adding additional choice to the situation. So you might have had situations where you wanted to use a species that's no longer available or in short supply, like thick ash or silvertop ash, as a builder. Maybe you would choose to, rather than putting a PC sum in because you weren't sure what to allow for in your quote, because you're not sure if you'll be able to give the same price a year down the track. Well, so they were willing to hold pricing for 12 to 18 months. I think that's quite powerful as well. Yeah, I could keep going. I don't know. There's a lot of different. Yeah, there's so many reasons. But yeah, I suppose like the biggest point for us is we want to give people choice. So we're adding a resource so that choice is a lot easier. And if you decide to go down recycled timber because you love the history of it, by all means, like that's what you love and that's what you want to do. Absolutely, wouldn't hold it against you. But we're offering you another choice.
I mean, for those who have watched a few of my videos on, I guess, the marketing of this webinar, I would have sort of held up this block, and I don't know if that's coming through in the webcam, but it looks really similar to some of the other engineered products. So how is this different to, say, glue lambs or other engineered products? And why would I choose this one over those particular products?
Depends what you're doing. I get asked a lot. Oh, so it's like LVL. It's very, very base level, sort of. Yeah, I suppose it is laminated veneer lumber. I suppose if you compare it to something like LVL, that's a structural first product. It's not meant for aesthetic uses. You are using just softwood veneers laminated together. Not sure what's in the glues, but I think that I'm fairly certain that it doesn't have the same sort of tests and whatnot. Formaldehyde free, for example, in our product. You can choose what species you want, black butt, spotted gum, not to mention, the pattern you spoke about over a large space, the quarter sawn, what might look linear, it actually deviates like timber. That's quite unique. Glue lamb, I suppose you could use our material in glue lamb, and we're doing some testing at the moment to have a look at that. So maybe it's not that glue lamb or our product. Maybe our product can be glue lamb. So think of it, I suppose, that way could be an interesting way. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Nice.
I know. Whenever we're separating our timbers on site, unfortunately, whenever we've got like a LVL or a glue lamb timber, like they're going in the pile that unfortunately has got to go in a big hole and buried.
Well, not in your
from
garage,
my understanding, I keep a lot. I for those who know me, I hoard a lot of stuff, and it needs to get to about this size before it ends up in the rubbish trailer. But yeah, from my understanding, and I'd like you to expand on a little bit, and you did touch on it in your presentation, but if I wanted to, like, this is food safe, this is, this can be put in your fire if you wanted to burn it, it's biodegradable, like, it's not like your typical LVL, is it, where, this could be treated just like a normal raw bit of natural timber, is that right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I suppose towards the end of life, when you're putting it in the bin and you're wondering what's going to happen to it, it will biodegrade, but at the same time, it is designed to last. So it will take an extended period of time to eventually break down into that sort of matter. So yeah, it does degrade, but same as timber, I suppose. If you leave a big slab of hardwood in the backyard, it'll take a fair few years for it to break down and dissipate. So yeah, that's what you can expect from that.
What is this magical sauce that you put in this though, Darren? Like, tell us all about it. Like, I want to know.
That's a question I get asked a lot too. What's in the glue, man? Like, yeah, what's in it? Unfortunately,
I can vouch. Like, I'm smelling this, right, and it smells like a bit of timber. Like, if you pick up a bit of LVL, and just for the record, I have not been paid by Crafted Hardwoods to sit here and promote this.
Yeah.
I genuinely feel that this is a good option, right? I think for moving forward, but like I can vouch that this doesn't smell. I don't. It's not off gassing that I can smell at all. But could you tell us a little bit more about the glue? I know you touched on it, but could you tell us a little bit more how does this end up like this, and what is happening with this glue, and why is this not delaminating?
You got two different questions there. So I'll go to the glue first, and then I'll make a note to remind me to do the delam. But the glue, like, everyone asks us what's in the glue, and we're not going to tell you. I'm sorry. That's like our patented, most protected secret, like the Colonel's 7 spices, or I don't know what else. There's heaps of things that you wouldn't know the exact ingredients. What we can give you is some really thorough tests that show that it has trace amounts of formaldehyde, similar to if you walk past a pine tree and you smell pine needles, that's VOCs. So, but they're not going to hurt you in that small amount. Or a zero beer does have a tiny bit of alcohol. So yeah, I hope that answers the glue side of things. Why doesn't
you haven't answered what's in it, but we'll let that one go. We'll let that one go for now.
There's water. There's water in there.
Yeah, water. Yeah. Yep. Nanoites. Yeah, there's all this stuff, but there's
biomimic lignin.
Yeah. Lignin.
And so that for the formaldehydes that Darren was just talking about is that's actually from the timber fibers, not from the glue.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. You know that. There you go. So
now delamination, like how's that not gonna start delaminating?
When we lay the boards up, so start in sheets of veneers, and we clip them up into 300mm widths. They go through, they get coated in our nano glue both sides, and get stacked. Goes into an infrared thermal oven, I suppose you call it, and press. So it gets inserted a little bit of moisture that is the carrier for the particles to take the glue into the timber, and then through the baking process we control the evaporation of the moisture that it comes out stable every time, 8 to 12% moisture content. Why doesn't pull apart? That's a big reason why, of the way that the glue transports into the veneers. And that's backed by a hell of a lot of tests over a long periods of time, very high European delamination standards. I actually had a phone call today from a coating supplier that everyone would be quite familiar with, Q-Tech, and they'd done some, like, I suppose you could call them short-term tests. They put them in vats, pulled them out, put them on the roof, and he's like, man, I tried everything. Like, I put them in clamps, I beat the shit out of it. So, I don't know if you swear, sorry for those out there that might have offended.
Don't worry, don't just swear away. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely, like, going to town, and yeah, that was really heartening to hear, because yeah, I've been a customer of our material. That's how I got to know it. They're the first questions I asked too, so don't blame me for that. The best thing I suppose you can do is exactly what you're doing now: get a piece off us and have a look at it, play around with it, and make sure you're comfortable with it. And I think that'll alleviate that concern over time.
So
Not to mention
I might
25 warranty.
Yeah, if you've got anything to add to that, Jeff, jump on in.
Yeah, I might just add that, so recently we had some delamination testing done that does actually put the timbers into a service class 3 environment, which is a very, very harsh, or a simulation of very, very harsh weather conditions, like nothing any of us would have ever experienced, like really, really severe. And the results that came out of that were really, really promising. Like there was no delamination in any of the samples that went into that. So that was really, really encouraging for us. And, you know, that was us wanting to do that just to, I guess, keep 3RT on their toes. So they've, you know, they made the claim. We wanted to be able to go out and get some independent testing done just for peace of mind, not only for us, but for our clients as well, just to make sure that it's doing the things that they said it could do. So, yeah, so that was really encouraging. It was a bit nerve-wracking. Like I was praying that they weren't going to open the machine and there was going to be all of these pieces of veneer that was coming out, and I was going to start crying in the corner about the amount of money I've put into a dud. But the results were really, really good, really encouraging. So.
Yeah, just quickly, look, there's a couple of questions here from just some attendees, but just before I jump to them, you've mentioned 3RT a couple of times now. Could you talk to us about the relationship between 3RT and Crafted Hardwoods, because they are two separate entities, just to expand on what that relationship looks like?
Okay, that's probably best answered by me, I suppose.
Okay.
So 3RT, you know, they're a research and development facility. I mean, that's their focus. So they do the research, they develop these technologies, and then, you know, their business model is to take this technology global and look for, you know, partners or licensees to procure the machinery and the licensing and bring the product to market. So that's what we've done for the Australian and New Zealand market. There's another company called TRX over in Belgium that is a licensee as well. And we expect to see a few more coming online around the world in the coming months and years. And I guess, you know, the exciting thing about that too is that it really is, it's going to create this, I guess, global network and community of people that can share ideas and experiences, whether it's positive or negative. And 3RT can facilitate that for us. And as most people know, what happens in Australia is a long way behind what's happening in, you know, places like Europe. So that relationship gives us access to that kind of information as well and what's happening there. But it also puts us into an environment where we can actually start to source, you know, different materials from different countries. Because, you know, I mean, there's a lot of material out there that's being wasted, not just in Australia, but and I guess maybe I shouldn't say wasted, just underutilized. So when we're screaming for resources for the building industry and construction, it's there, it's available for us. And the more we can learn through this process with the other licensees and partners with 3RT, but they're also, we will benefit from their continued R&D as well. So at the moment, the next step for them is looking at introducing the H3 additive into the nano glue so that we can potentially produce blocks straight out of the press that are already treated for outdoor use. So imagine like a white gum that will be available with a 25-year outdoor above ground use guarantee. I mean, that's, you know, that just changes things again. So yeah, it's a win-win really for all of us.
I'm going to throw a curly one at you, and it's from one of our attendees now, and I'm going to throw it at you, Darren.
Okay.
Do you differentiate between PEFC and FSC product for those of us who don't believe that PEFC is a credible certification of sustainability?
That's a really good question, and I'm not probably as educated as that individual is. But yes, we do have the ability. It probably reduces your choice when it comes to species and where it comes from. So we can do just FSC only from what I understand, but it would only be limited to certain species. So in Australia, from what I understand, FSC that's pretty rare for you'd be able to get an Australian hardwood FSC certified, but in other countries it's more likely. So yeah, like, it's definitely something we could expand on for sure. But I'd answer that question to say, don't know 100%. I feel good about it. I'll come back to you and let you know. Definitely.
And like
I'll add a
PEFC,
bit more.
FSC,
Okay.
sorry, you go, Jeff.
Look, it's we've got to work with what's available to us, and it's if there's other means to ensure that the materials are truly sustainable, then we definitely want to know about it. We've got my partner's she's working in the business as well, and she's doing a lot of research, and it's really encouraging, and it's important to us too that like take white gum or eucalyptus dunning, right? It's an Australian species, but it's we're actually sourcing that out of plantations in Brazil because it grows about 30% faster over there. But we're also, and even though, that's FSC certified, right? But we're also aware and trying to really dig down deeper into that to sort of say, okay, well, eucalyptus is an introduced species in other countries, right? In Australia, the environment has adapted to the fire and how eucalyptus responds to that. Whereas in Brazil, introducing a far more flammable timber or tree into a new environment, that has consequences on the local biodiversity. So part of what we're doing is trying to dig a bit deeper and try and ensure that not only is it FSC certified, but are the people that are foresting those areas doing it responsibly? Are they doing the right things to make sure that the biodiversity areas are being managed properly to reduce that risk? That if there does end up being a fire, then how's that going to impact the local area? So there's a lot of digging to be done, but at the moment we're doing our best, and we are looking for the best outcome we can get on our supply chain.
I mean, I guess the other thing to, just from an outside looking in, just thinking back to your slides of where this material is coming from. I mean, personally, I think I'd rather see all that pulpwood, that low-grade stuff, turned into this than sawdust or wood chips or even, white crisp paper or something like that. I think it, becomes a more valuable resource. I've got a couple of questions here around price, and maybe we'll pick a product. So say if we've got solid timber flooring, natural timber flooring, and your particular product, where does that price point sit?
We aren't a commodity product as yet, so we're not producing flooring in 50,000 meters at a time. So I think when you're comparing it, say like a Tasmanian oak, we might be a small amount more expensive in that sense. What we can say is that we'll have the stock where you might not be able to get the stock at the time. So there's sort of a bit of a trade-off there, and how palatable that is. If you flip, the wider the board, the more cost-effective we get, and potentially, like with the added stability of our material, we could potentially do things in a wider board than what is traditionally known. So yeah, there's some really exciting things happening in the background that we're looking into there. Say if you went to a custom lining, for example, I think you'd find it switch back the other way, and it might be a cost-saving alternative. So it really depends on job by job, but yeah, the wider board, the more cost-effective. Yeah.
When you say claddings, what are you referring to, like internal or external?
The job I was thinking about was a custom profile castellated internal, but there's nothing to say that that could not be used externally. So that's just the application on the job. But I think, say, if I'm talking about black butt in this sense, I think on that job it might have been, say, $2 to $3 a meter cheaper on that one, in that sense, in that situation. I think when we get to stair treads, specifically the thicker ones, so say like a 70mm tread, it's quite common. You're eliminating laminating out of that process. So we tend to find that to be considerably more cost effective. On the flip side, if you were looking to run some battens over 2.5, which is our length limitation at the moment, you might find that the added labour from the finger joining in that sense adds some cost. So over the space of a job, it would probably play out well. But if you're just doing battens, maybe that wouldn't be suitable unless you really loved it. And the stairs in our minds, yeah, quite a no-brainer, especially if you like the look of it as well. So yeah, that's just some observations from getting around and talking to people and why people are choosing our material for what applications.
I'm just trying to manage my son who's standing on the chair behind me. I'm trying to make sure that he doesn't fall off. This is classic modern parenting 101. Sorry.
So our goal, if I may, the goal for us is to try and, on average, bring this material to market at the same price as natural timber. We don't want, and I think we've all probably seen it, that as soon as you mention the word sustainable, people are expecting that that's going to come at a premium. We don't want it to be a roadblock. So we really, really want to be able to get this material out there as close to the same price as natural timber as possible, but still also be able to do those community initiatives that we've pledged to do, because that's important. So if you took a project where you did, so yeah, flooring, stairs and bench tops, kitchen bench tops, you'd probably come out of that at a lower cost as a package.
I wonder with supply of hardwoods as well as we move into the future, that that price is probably going to start going up and yours might start going down. So another couple of questions here that sort of just coming to mind. If we are using it as an external cladding, like, and I'm in a Bow 29 area, like, do you have a product that we can put externally on a Bow 29 class?
Yep, our black butt's been tested for Bow 29, so that's not a problem. That's an easy answer, that one. Our spotted gum has not been tested for that, so we definitely advise you that at the time. Even though we've been backed by Flinders Uni, we could use that data that we've got with spotted gum being very similar to black butt in density. We could probably draw some conclusions from that in the short term. But yeah, right at the moment, black butt only in that application.
So here's a question for you. So what is the difference between, and this is relating to the bow, obviously a spotted gum typically is a Bow 29 rated material. If we're talking about this product being like a similar density and like a similar product of a natural timber, what is it about it, the spotted gum now that's not allowing it to be Bow 29, or does it just have to go through that process?
Testing only is the only reason. At the time when we did the testing, money too, obviously. Yeah. Like we're both startups, so we've got to be careful about where we put certain funds. But at the time we did the testing, black butt was available, and we hadn't bedded down our supply chain on spotted gum, so therefore we didn't have the material to test at the time. It was a later development. So I think going through that process, understanding it a bit better, I think 3RT and us would like to make sure there's definitely a market for it before we go and go and spend money unnecessarily as well. So that's the reality of a startup with business. We've got to be very careful about what we invest in, Geoffrey.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like just for each species we have just the three basic fire tests. I mean, there's $10,000 just for one species. So, you know, we've got, I guess, 6 species in our core range. So just for those 3 initial tests, I mean, there's $60,000 straight off the bat. You know, not only that, when we start talking to some of the, you know, the bigger architectural practices and the, you know, the land leases and the builts and the multiplexes and that sort of stuff, the first question they ask is, have you got an EPD? So for those that don't know about that, that's an environmental product declaration. It's definitely something that we need to do, because people are saying, look, you know, until you've got that, we don't want to know about it. You know, that's a $40,000 to $70,000 process just to get a documentation to say, hey, guess what? This is wood, and it's you know, and there's a few steps along the way. So yeah, we've really, and then there's, you know, the VOC testing, and then we've got to do. I'm just about to send some materials off to the Australian Timber Flooring Association just to do some you know, oven moisture testing, just to confirm that, you know, these things are sort of coming, you know, would be arriving to site at, you know, those roughly those right moisture contents and that sort of stuff. So, you know, I think Australia has just got so many certifications and regulations and requirements that, you know, it's stifling. So, but we'll get there. You know, we'll black butt and white gum. We're sort of the first two that, with a cab off the ranks, obviously black butt, and then yeah, spotted gum, similarities. So we went with black butt. White gum and Tassie oak, for example, have got similarities. So we went with white gum. Well, when I say we're talking 3RT, and I guess that was, you know, their choice, like Darren said, but also because, you know, they're looking globally as well. So white gum's a good species that they're using globally. So black butt was the Australian species and white gum was the import species. So yeah, but stay tuned, there's more coming.
So just another question just come to mind now is, like, is the production process quite energy intensive?
Yeah, yep, it is. That's a great question that got asked early in our journey, and we can answer that very happily to say that where we're producing at the moment, it's a government for its own facility. Therefore, they're very on top of the sort of energy you're consuming and where it comes from. So it's naturally covered in solar panels. I think, and being in South Australia, being like a green energy leader in our country, quite comfortable with that arrangement, and that'll only get better as they transition more, eventually becoming 100% green. I don't know what date that was by, but it didn't seem like it was that far away. So it's definitely something for us to keep in mind as we grow and add a second facility, which is, you know, as much as we're in the now, we always think about the future as well, and that informs the decisions we make. That certainly will be very high on the agenda when we get to that as well. So it does create a great blueprint for ensuring that's the case.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, it's great to hear that, you know, that rooftops just completely covered in solar. So I've got another question here, just talking about where you would actually deliver to. So is there like limitations on where it can be shipped to? Like, if it's in a remote area, is the freight just going to be the same as, say, if you needed to get material out to that particular area anyway? Like, is there going to be added costs to that kind of make it prohibitive?
Possibly. We don't know if we don't ask. It depends on the area and what arrangement we've got with resellers and in what market. So that's something I work heavily on, is supply chain, making sure, like we're working really hard to get some stock into different places. If it was today, trying to think of a good example. Say if I had to go to Queensland and could work with a freight forwarder, I don't think it would be that cost prohibitive. It'd have a lot to do with the size, the weight, and that sort of thing. But yeah, it really depends. I can't think of a major reason why it wouldn't work unless it was something crazy. But even like I think even if you wanted stuff delivered over to King Island, I think we could arrange that. Yeah.
Probably just answers the next question. Then
Yeah.
answers the next question that's popped up. If you're delivering to
Okay.
King Island, you're probably going to deliver to Tasmania as well. So,
Oh yeah, I
but
think there's material coming back and forth. Yeah, from Victoria to Tassie all the time. So I can't see why. And I think like if we were in a position where it became prohibitive, we'd definitely be speaking to that client to try and reduce that friction of them deciding with our product. That's sort of touches on some of the similar things that we've mentioned of trying to be a similar price, trying to be accessible to people, is reducing that friction to choosing our product. So if there's something standing in the way like that, there's a fair chance that we'll try and jump in and help them to make it possible or worthwhile.
And we talked about this being biodegradable and that it can be, I guess, essentially used outside. But is there any applications that it's not, like where it's not fit for purpose?
I've had a few really good flooring ones lately, and you're early on in the journey, you're really keen to sign up work, but we can't afford to do it for the wrong reasons as much as it is exciting. And flooring is one of them. I think you'd really, I'm fairly certain that you can't get an engineered board with, say, a black butt or spotted gum on top warranted with a heated slab. So therefore, our product that's mimicking natural timber would be even less likely. So if you've got a heated slab, I don't think, like, solid timber is definitely not appropriate. Neither is an Australian species engineered product. So ours definitely wouldn't be. So that's a good example of where it wouldn't be suitable. The decking side of things, we are working hard to solve that. And really, that situation, we're just under more scrutiny being a new material. If you got a splinter off your decking, I don't think you'd blame the timber. You'd probably blame the owner. Why didn't you sand your deck? Whereas, we want to eliminate any likelihood of someone, feeling like the material contributed to a bad experience. So yeah, we're really trying to solve that. And I feel like we're not that far away. It's going to take some specific coatings, I think, to do it.
Probably just landed another question. I know, Darren, you and I have met up at Auslec here in Victoria. What are we finishing these products with? Are just like a normal oil timber stain that we put on any product?
Yeah, I thought that maybe Q-Tech wouldn't work with being a mineral-based oil. So I really wanted to eliminate that from the situation, and everything's been positive so far with them. And anything water-based, not a problem. Vesting, like the stuff that Auslec does, is amazing. I was making chopping boards for myself. I was coating it, doing a really bad job of it. And I went in there and they coated my chopping boards in a couple of minutes, hit it with the UV gun, sorted. And it just, it really highlights, we've got an amazing material, but if you pair it with a oil or a finish that has similar values, like a Vesting's VOC-free oil, geez, that's a powerful combo. And I know this isn't going to work very well, but I'll just show you my chopping board. Hopefully it comes up. I thought I might get an opportunity to do this, but anyway, if I ever have doubts about what I'm doing, I just go and make some food for my family. And by the end of it, I absolutely love those chopping boards and our material, and that's a big reason of why I ended up here where I am. And oils are awesome.
As we've discussed previously, I hope you got 4 of them lying around for the 4 projects that I'm handing over. That I'm handing over shortly. Look, guys, I genuinely hope that this product is as good as what you're telling us. And I'm pretty excited that I'm going to get an opportunity with some others to come and look through the factory. And if there are anyone interested to come and have a look through the factory in South Australia, please get in contact with us. We are taking a group through early August, but Jeff, I think you mentioned that you might be there earlier than that as well. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, there's a definite. There's a date. I think it was
in July.
17th of July, I think it was, or thereabouts. We've got, we're partnering up and sponsoring a few things, obviously, to try and, help get the word out there. And so we're sponsoring the Interior Design Excellence Awards that we did last year and this year. And they're having a bit of a, I think that's when they're announcing the shortlist in the Zenith Interiors showroom in Adelaide. So I'll be over there for that. So yeah, it'd make sense that if there's any interested parties that want to come and have a look, then so be it. You won't get to find out what's in the secret sauce, but you can come and have a bit of a look.
So unfortunately, I'm going to be surfing in Samoa on the 17th of July, but I will be there in August, and I'm taking at this stage some members from Live Life Build through, who I know Amelia is here today listening, and I've actually just been sitting here waiting for some curly questions from her. But I'm going to wrap this up. Hey guys, really thank you so much for coming on and talking about this product. As I said, I genuinely hope that it is going to be doing everything that you say it is, and I'm very excited to come and see it in person. Again, big thanks to everyone that's joined us today. And as I mentioned, one of our platinum sponsors, Live Life Build. Don't forget to check out our podcast, Sustainable Builders Yak. We're up to episode 28. So if we've got past 20, I reckon we're doing all right. So we were getting some really great feedback from the Sustainable Builders Yak podcast. That's obviously presented by Simon and Brian. And in episode 28, they're actually chatting with John Dalla Via and Alexandra Guinan from Forest One. If you haven't already checked out our YouTube channel, check it out. But all our previous episodes, minisodes, and the webinars sit on our website. So that's www.thesba.com. We've recently recorded Vapor Seal, Respirabuilt, who's talked about their hemp block, and we had McCormack's come back on to talk about their Forever Breathe system. Now, next month's webinar is still a little bit up in the air, but at this stage, we might be doing a live webinar. We are helping activate a space with Hip First Hype in Brunswick in Victoria, and we're hoping that it will be streamed, and also we can have a bunch of people from Victoria or Melbourne come down and check it out. So maybe we'll see the guys from Crafted Hardwoods there as well.
We got our tickets, mate.
Again,
we'll be there.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be an amazing space. So the Better Build space, I think they're calling it. There's going to be a huge amount of webinars, podcasts, live events, some trade shows and all that kind of stuff. They're going to be at that space. So definitely keep a lookout for that, because we're actually helping activate that space. Again, Jeff, Darren, thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll catch you guys soon. And thanks everybody for coming today.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Hamish.
Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate it.
See ya. Bye.